And here we go. Share the screen. Oops, wrong one there. So welcome to our First Robotics Canada FRC Fall Mentor Sessions. And this is a special session to which only rookie teams have been invited. And we will be going for just under 1 hour here. If you have additional questions, please feel most welcome to reach out at any time to my phone number or email, which many of you already have. And the purpose of this session is to ensure that the rookie teams feel adequately supported moving into the season, that they may network together, and to consider some of the big points that are important for running a successful team during the FRC season. So hopefully by the end of this session, you will have a strategy to carry out your first FRC season successfully. And that's our whole point. If at any time you have a question, please feel free to put up your hand or just blurt out. We have a small enough group that might be fine. Sometimes I miss the list of participants. I don't like to keep too many of these windows open on my Zoom call, but I will try to see if someone has a hand up. And we hope this will be an interactive discussion as much as a presentation. So first, we'll do a little bit of introduction. Many of you are very new. For some, this may be the very first FRC meeting ever, as we have some new teams on the horizon here in Ontario. I'm going to stop sharing my screen just so we can get to know each other. And I might ask that you may observe many of the participants have already put their team number. I'm just going to give an example here. My old team number was team 6162. I'll just put it there briefly. And if you might just add your team number in like this, that might just help everyone to identify which team you're on. Eventually, you get to know a lot of these team numbers. I'm just going to rename it actually again to First Robotics Canada for me. And we'll just take a few moments to make some introductions. And it would also be a great time for you to add any questions. Maybe we'll keep the introductions brief. And then after you've introduced yourself, if you have any specific questions you'd like covered or discussed during our call, you can put them in the chat. And that will help to direct our discussion as the session goes on. So we'll start with Steve.
Yeah. Oh, hello, I'm Steve. I did FRC, I guess, back in 2019, 2020, but then with COVID and all that, we shut down for 3 years.
Wow.
And lo and behold, we came back as a rookie team again.
Nice.
So yeah, so I have all new students in it. So we'll see how this year goes. So excited to be part of it again.
Oh, that's amazing. And which school are you at, Steve, or organization? Which area?
Milliken Mills High School.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Milliken Mills. Yeah. So thank you so much, Steve. Let's hear from Mr. Abbas Ali.
Sorry, William, just getting through all the things. All right, my name is Abbas Ali. I'm coming from a Sadiq Islamic School. We're a private school in Vaughan. This is our very first year having a robotics competition at the school or club at the school as well. I'm here with Khalil on the other side as well. And we want to try and see how we can improve our school's robotics program going forward. Looking forward to it.
So great to meet you, Mr. Abbas Ali.
Likewise.
And we will continue along. Thank you. We have Marjorie.
Thank you, William. Hello, everyone. I'm Marjorie Cook. I am a member of the rookie team 9580, and we are located in Barrie with Georgian College, and we are a community team.
That's Great. Thank you so much, Marjorie. We move on to Preston.
Hi everyone, my name is Christian. I am with 95-92. I'm a new team with the high school in Timmins, Ontario.
Great, thank you very much, Christian. And we also have Preston from Team 9580. Not sure if Preston's catching the audio. If you do hear us eventually, Preston, please feel free to join in. We'll continue with Alfredo.
Hi everyone, just Bishop Redding out of Milton. First year doing this. Previously did it at 2 other schools. It's been 11-12 years since I forgot how fun it is, so we decided to come back.
Excellent. And we continue with Liam from Team 7200.
Hi there. I was on Team 7200 when I was in high school. I'm now at Georgian College, and I'm going to be mentoring 9580. Yeah, I guess had a bit of. I was head of the build department. Had a really fun time doing it. So I'm seeing what I can pass on to the next generation.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Liam. That's great to know. And then we have Matt.
Thanks.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm part of Team 9580 out of Barrie at Georgian College. This is really just my first year of FRC Robotics, so really looking forward to it.
That's great. You have quite a team coming up at Georgian College of alumni, Georgian students, staff, and faculty. The whole spectrum there is amazing. We'll continue. Well, we've already heard from Christian. Daniel. Oh, more Georgian College participation.
Yeah. Break the time with Team 9580. I'm the resident chef at Georgian College, so
amazing.
Nice to meet everybody.
So great to meet you, Daniel. And we continue with Suzanne.
Suzanne Diamond from 9621. We just started this community team because my son said, if you can't find a team, make it. So here we are, and they are currently working on the robot right now. So I'm listening to them and listening to this.
Amazing. That's great. And thank you so much, Suzanne. And we continue with Khalil.
Hi, my name is Khalil. I'm with Brother Bosley from Asali School and just really excited to participate.
So really great to meet you, Khalil. And we continue with Adam.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Adam. I'm with Community Team 9580, Georgian College. Excited to see some of our friendly faces on the call today. And yeah, we had our first meet and greet and got to meet all of our teammates in real life on Saturday. So it was cool to feel the energy and the excitement of everyone joining. And yeah, just excited to learn more as we fumble through all of this together.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Adam. And we finish with Elijah.
All right, hi. I'm Elijah. I'm in Stainer. I go to Stainer Collegiate, and I'm also a Georgian, and I have no experience, so I'm looking forward to learning more about robotics and everything that comes with it.
You are in good company. And speaking of no experience, that's how I jumped in with both feet to FRC Robotics. Didn't know anything about what was happening, and it was an amazing ride all along the way. So happy to have seen everyone on the call this evening. I see that my colleague Paul has joined in perfect timing to make an introduction.
Well, it's unusual for me, but thank you, William. Yes, hello, everyone. I think I've been in touch with most of you at some point. Welcome. The stuff's just about to hit the fan when the kickoff occurs in January. So anything we can do to help, any questions you might have now or during the season, don't hesitate to contact us. We're happy to help in any way that we can.
That's great. So it's I'm very thankful to Paul for bringing up this as a great idea to just go through with the rookie teams. And based on a kind of list that Paul gave to me, made up a little slideshow for us to have a little discussion around it. If anyone has questions anywhere through the slideshow, please feel free to mention that. And while I'm thinking of it, I thought I'd mention the XRP robots. A few of you were asking about them. I went through the database, and anyone who didn't already get one sent has now had one ordered and sent. Some of them have been delivered in person. Some of them were sent by post. And anyone who didn't receive one yet should be receiving one. And I believe, Suzanne, on the weekend, you took one extra one because your first one was not working. Is that right? Did you actually take one home? A new one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connor, did you give
Yeah.
William the broken XRP on the weekend?
Yes.
He gave you the broken one and he took a good one because I think
Good.
the girls built it in your workshop.
Good.
The,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
new community team and Haley built it and we brought it home.
That's amazing. So I was hoping to catch one more team on here about that because they also had a broken robot. If you do experience a quality control issue, we have more of them. It seems most of them were working, but 2 of them so far in the community did not work, and we just replaced them. And well, that's great. Well, I'll just share the screen again and bring our discussion along a little. The season overview. And here's a list of concerns or items to consider given to me by Paul. And this is a really good place to start. What are the kickoffs? What is the kit of parts? What is first choice? And what is a kit bot? And what is the ever bot? And what the build season is like, and the kind of supports you may need, and what's it like to compete in an Ontario district event. This picture here is from during the build season in 2018. And here you see my students teaching some international STEM camp participants how to work with the FRC robot. It's a really amazing progress that you see how the student transforms into a teacher almost overnight. And you can have as many teachers in the classroom as you have participants. And it strongly multiplies the learning that happens in the group, whether in a classroom or even in a community group. And so I always like this picture as the my students during that year were also able to make presentations at the university to my university students and did a fabulous job in sharing with them their knowledge and experience with FRC, even after a few short months of having been in the program. So that's a summary of the things that we may discuss, and now a little bit more detail about each. The kickoff and the kit of parts. So each one of you will have received some kind of communication about the kickoff. Most of you have chosen to do the kickoff at Studica, but some of you may be in other locations such as Huntsville and or Durham College, or what is it, the Ontario Tech University rather. And if you don't know where your kickoff is, you can let us know. It will be on your dashboard, and it will probably be in communications given to you. The kickoffs generally follow the same kind of schedule. In the morning, late morning, that is, the game is revealed. And then in the early afternoon, the kits of parts are released. And then if you're going to Studica, you'll be given a time slot sometime between about 1 and 4 p.m. to come and pick up your kit of parts. If your team, for some reason, is not able to come and pick up, you are able to draw on the support of another team, and you need to fill out a surrogate form to be able to do this. You can email me for a surrogate form, and I'll be glad to send on one. You just fill it out, and then another team will be authorized to pick up your kit of parts. Vehicle considerations. Most average sedans can fit the kit of parts, unless you have a lot of other passengers and your trunk is very small. You just may want to think about that. Your vehicle should be large enough to carry 2 fairly large totes and possibly some other long pieces. Some years they've had some metal pieces that were 4 to 6 feet long, and there may be some game pieces or other elements that we don't know yet. So that's the kit of parts that you actually pick up on the 6th of January, and everyone in the whole world has access to the new game rules and game pieces and a set of robot parts at the same time. Meanwhile, There are two other elements in the kit of parts that are more virtual. One allows you to order online. And if you're interested in first choice, you may make an order. And the one caveat is, since first choice is based in the US, there's a very strong shipping cost. The way it goes, you may spend first choice credits and make a shopping basket full of parts that you might like. There's a lock collar, it costs 5 credits, and there's a motor, it costs 10. So you make a shopping basket full of wish list items, and then you'll be given up to 100 credits worth in order of your preference, and it's kind of randomly assigned across the whole continent. So if you're interested in that, you may look it up. It's on the Andy Mark website. I'll put it in the chat a little later. There is a very strong and high shipping cost. I found that my team stopped using it after a while because we spent our shipping costs on parts rather than shipping, and we just ordered more locally. There's also a virtual kit that you will find in your dashboard, and it consists of vouchers, sometimes for equipment like sensors or pneumatic tubes, as you see there, or it could be for software. And you may want to check that out. Some of the voucher codes may be active already. Others may only be active on the day of the kickoff, and they'll be active up until next year. Just going to check here in the chat, see if there's a question. And the 250 deposit, Suzanne, just to clarify, was that the 250 deposit you put in for the XRP robots, or is that for your first choice?
That was for first choice. They wanted a 250 deposit for shipping. I thought that was pretty steep, but I was like, okay.
It is, and I don't know what it'll exactly come out to, but the shipping costs even before this inflationary period were astronomical, and I only did it, I think, the first 2 years, and then I just said, that doesn't make sense. I could take this 150 American dollars and buy a whole bunch of other great stuff. And so
we picked items that we thought that would be easy, like we wouldn't be able to get other places.
Yeah.
Based on like yours recommendation and Matt Alderson's recommendation.
Yeah, and that is true. And some of them you can get. In the first year, I did get most of a pneumatic system, and it was beneficial aside from the shipping costs. So it's you can look on the first choice site and just see if it makes sense for you. The first round has already passed. There is a second round though, and you can participate in that if you wish. And
yeah, just to add on to that, William.
Yeah.
If you didn't participate in the first round and you didn't use your 100 credits or whatever it happens to be, you still have those credits. So you can include them in the next one you do. The way it works is that there's a lottery, and then they start with your list. If you're, let's say you're number 1 in the lottery, and then they're going through your list to fill it, and then to the next team and the next team and the next team and the next team. So that's where it's a bit chancy. But like William, the team that I had, after a couple of years, just decided that most of what was there, we just really didn't make much sense. I did have just to point this out, I did have a question this afternoon from a team that wanted to buy a radio, the little router that's on a robot, to have a spare one, and just felt like it was too much, right? So with the exchange and the shipping, so I suggested that perhaps some of the teams that William and I know that are no longer going to compete may wish to donate those. So you might think of that as well. Maybe you know of a team in your area, or William might know of a team in your area that's not going to compete this year that might have parts that they're willing to provide to a rookie team, since they got lots of help from other teams when they started. So they might be willing to do that as well.
So that's great. Those are some things to think about for the kit of parts, the virtual kit, the first choice, and the kickoff. And we will continue down to the kit of parts itself. I just remember the process of opening the kit of parts, and it was at that point that my classroom went from fairly ordered to fairly disordered fairly quickly, because there are a lot of things in the kit of parts. Up until that point, my STEM program fit on a microwave stand, as we built 3D printers on that microwave stand. And as soon as we got this kit of parts, we suddenly have hundreds of little things to keep organized. So you may want to think ahead, we ended up getting lots of little plastic bins and shelving and different kind of units from Home Depot to contain like a little cupboard units, and something to think ahead about how you're going to keep everything organized on your team. Keeping things tidy will save you hundreds of hours, because I just used to ask my students to say, oh, how about this? During our robotics session, if 20 students take 20 things and don't put them back, that's 400 things out of place just to begin with. And then the average time you spend searching for them gets higher and higher. So it's always good to incorporate that into your practice, keep things tidy, as it can be so exhilarating when you forget that, oh yeah, these basic things are really great to practice. It will save you a lot of time. So we've talked about the first choice, and we also have something called the KitBot and the EverBot. These are actually, I meant to take these out here. I'm going to continue on to the next slide, and we will continue on to those ones in our discussion. The KitBot and the EverBot. The EverBot is a very special project supported by Team 118 in Texas, and that team is sponsored by NASA. And they build their robot with NASA engineers at the space facilities in Houston every year. And so they have a lot of resources. One thing they do have access to is so many engineers that NASA spares some of their engineers every December and January to divert their attention from the planets and the stars to building a robot for the FRC competition. And this is the example of the EverBot from 2 years ago. They try to keep it modular, simple, affordable, buildable, and they also create a whole set of directions that come in the kit of parts. Or sorry, getting ahead of myself. A whole set of directions that are made available shortly after the game is released, sometime later in January. And as I said, kit of parts, I'm already thinking about the KitBot. The EverBot was so popular that this year they're including something like the EverBot in the kit of parts. It's called the KitBot, and you should have in your kit of parts enough pieces to make a game-ready robot, maybe not all the functions of the game, but some of the functions of the game on your very first day. And this will be a really beneficial move for the teams. And what the EverBot is going to be this year, according to my understanding, is a systematic modification of the KitBot to allow you to get more results out of your KitBot. If you spend your energy in the first week or so building your KitBot, and were you to get to the point of having an operational drivetrain and 1 or 2 of your modules built, then you're in a really good shape for the rest of the season. Then you can spend more of your energy troubleshooting, finding out which connections are reliable, making sure your motor controllers are all working, and doing all of those trial and error activities off the field instead of on the field. And it's a really great benefit to do your very best as a team to get your robot built as quickly as possible. The earlier you do this, the more you're going to be a natural on the playing field as a team. So we do have some quick builds coming up. We've already scheduled one here in London. If your team is near enough to London, you'll be welcome to join us, and details will be sent out about this. And the date has still to be decided and to be announced, and that will be in Mississauga. And those are 2 quick builds that we have. And some other teams also do quick builds of various types. You will notice that some teams do something called Robot in 3 days, and they take the new game, and at a university or college, they build a robot that's ready to be competitive in that game. And that's something that's interesting, though I don't necessarily recommend it for a first-year team. I see Suzanne has a hand up.
Sorry, I have no background in this, so I'm trying to keep up. So the KitBot is what is the parts that we would be building from the kit we get on kickoff?
Yes.
And what's EverBot then?
Now, the KitBot is kind of evolved from the EverBot program, because what happened before, you just got the rectangular drive base in your kit, and then you had to come up with all the other parts on your robot. But because it's such a great learning opportunity, having some ready-made cut parts and parts that need minimal manufacturing is really beneficial. So what we did, or what the NASA team did with Team 118. They created this EveryBot and they made a standard set of parts you could buy at either Home Depot or common metal places and instructions to build them. So the KitBot is like a stage 1 EveryBot that will already be in your kit. And this year, the EveryBot will be like a stage 2 bot, which will modify and improve on the KitBot.
So those will come in our kickoff package?
Yes, so you'll get a KitBot in your kickoff package, and then the EveryBot within the first few weeks of kickoff, generally every day in January, there's some kind of update. You'll get instructions and bills of materials and CAD drawings on how to take your KitBot and modify it to make it more effective. And
so the big distinction here is that just like your team, Team 118 in Houston, Texas, that built the EveryBot, they don't know what the game is until January the 8th or 6th or whatever the kickoff day is. However, so that would take them 2.5 weeks to come up with their EveryBot. And yet teams that have said, okay, we want to do that. So they're kind of waiting, they're spinning their wheels, right? In past. The people who know what's going to happen, what the game is going to be, are the people that work for First Headquarters. And that's not William and I. We don't know what the game is. So they had a chance to prepare parts and think of strategies and do some testing and to build these KitBots to play the game. So as soon as kickoff happens, then anybody who wishes to make a KitBot, and it could be any team, they'll have the same parts, they can then start on that. And then the idea is that once they've got that made, they can test it out, they can drive it, and they can make adjustments to it, improvements. And that's what the EveryBot team is going to do to their KitBot. They're going to make a KitBot, and then they're going to make adjustments, and they're going to say, hey, this is a good one. Maybe you want to try this, or this didn't work for us. Someone suggested we do this, but it didn't really work on our team. So that's what it's all about. But one of the big things, I don't know, because I was late, maybe William already mentioned it, but no one knows what the game is going to be who's on a team. It's not revealed. It will be revealed for everybody exactly the same time.
And this is recommended for rookie teams or not? Like, is this part of everybody's kit or is this a rookie kit thing?
No, it's a part of everybody's kit. So you might be a rookie, Suzanne, and of course you are, but there will be veteran teams who have new mentors. There will be teams that have taken a year or two off during the pandemic and are going to come back this year because it didn't work last year for them. So they'll have all new kids. They'll have newish mentors or completely new mentors, and they're a rookie except in name. So they may decide to do this. Other places may be veteran teams, but they don't have build facilities to do a lot of the fabrication that you might do if you're making a whole robot on your own. So they may decide to do it. They may look at it and say, well, this is a really good robot. Let's do this and let's improve it. So there's all those kind of things going on at the same time. But everybody gets the same kit. The only difference between your kit and someone who's not a rookie is you get all the electronics that they already have, the control systems that the veteran teams already have. So the rookies get them because, of course, they don't have them.
Thank you. I think I understand.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
In terms of like you're mentioning these games, what would be an example of a previous game that's played, just so that we get an idea of what we're expecting?
So maybe I could just go make a quick search online just to give you an example. And I usually like to go to YouTube and just type in FRC. This time I'll put in the 2023 game and see what happens. And let's see. Okay, so here's a video that comes up. And I'll just share my screen here. I should just check, am I sharing with sound? Okay.
Here's our first finals match on Einstein. Hopper is in red, Daly is in blue. 44-14 doing double game piece auto. 40-96 controls.
So there's a little example. We have the basketball field size game field, and that has been standard for many years now. And we have 3 robots on the red alliance and 3 robots on the blue alliance. What you're seeing in the first 15 seconds of this match is autonomous period where the robots are working completely without human intervention. And then you'll hear a little bell and a signal that switches over to teleoperated mode, and you'll see the drivers will grab their game controllers. And then the rest of the 2.5-minute match, that's 2 minutes and 15 seconds, is driver controlled. And they have 3 main objectives to achieve. One is to collect and place cones in their area. Another is to collect and place cubes. The theme is energy, and they're filling in the electrical grid. And these cubes and cones represent parts of the electrical grid in the community. And then finally, there's a charging station, which is a balancing station there. The robots can drive over it during the game, but at the end, you'll see that they will want to balance on it. I'll give you a few more moments to hear the transition from the autonomous to the teleoperated time after 15 seconds, and then we'll go to the end of the match and you'll see what happens.
Up, dock, and engage. Blue one's got 3 game pieces during that auto.
So it looks fairly similar, but now they're driving their robots, and we can go maybe fast forward to near the end of the match, and we'll watch the little last piece of the match here.
25 seconds to go. 40-96 is already up for the Red Alliance. 44-14 looks like they're getting ready to join them. On the Blue Alliance, they have 125 and 870 going up. Red Alliance has a 3 robot docked and engaged, and this match ends in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So there we have it. The end of the gameplay. It's usually very exciting. At the last moment, you saw one of those robots went up there, and just as the final second is ticking, sometimes they balance or unbalance, and it was a really exciting game this year. You see by the end of the match, this is actually in the world finals, so these robots have been through a lot, and most of the game pieces are now stacked up like this. And this is giving you an example of what's possible. We start at the district level in Ontario, then we have the Ontario Championships, and this is the footage from the World Finals in Houston, Texas, with 20,000 people or so in the room.
So if I can just speak to this a little bit, William, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So they change it up. I've been involved in FIRST, not as a mentor, for a few years for the different competitions. And they change up some of the skills that the robots have to have. Sometimes they have to shoot a ball. Sometimes they have to have a hook that they have to come up and lift and balance themselves up. So there's always different components, and each of the things that they can do is different types of points. Honestly, for the first little bit, when you're first watching it, you'll be like, I don't quite get it. But by the end of a weekend, you're like totally aware of what's going on. So you just have to kind of watch in January, and they'll sort of announce, and each component has a different point system. So if you're not able to, get your robot to pick up a ball and throw it, say that's part of the competition, you could then just focus on one part of that, and then just do that really well, so that your robot could potentially get picked up to help towards the end in the finals.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Marjorie. That's excellent. And yeah, hopefully everyone will be seeing the Georgian team at Georgian College in week 3. And we're really looking forward to that event. So we see it's quite it's a sport for engineering types. And it's a sport where everyone gets to win, because the skills you gain, no matter your results, are going to be with you for your whole life. So an interesting and exciting kind of undertaking we're involved in here. Oops.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry, I accidentally muted there. We will be sharing some more details about our quick build sessions where you will join other teams to build part or all of your kit bot and or every bot. And we have one set in January in London, and there will be more coming along. So we continue on our build season. This is another one of my favorite photos. This is my team. The very first day we were at an FRC tournament in Windsor. I see Suzanne has a hand up.
Yeah, sorry. Do you recommend that we do these quick builds as a pre-rookie team, or?
Oh
is that
yeah,
something-
it's aimed at teams that are even veteran teams that have new mentors. It's a great place to get started. A lot of the veteran teams may have enough building experience. They may not partake of that activity. But if you're a new team and you have access that is close enough that you can make it to Mississauga or London or wherever we have the quick build, then I would recommend it.
See, we're doing the kickoff with Makeshift though, and 9098 and one other team.
And that will also inform your team as to how you want to go about it. Maybe during that kickoff, you'll come up with another strategy. I know last year, 9098 was a rookie team, but they kind of shadowed along with 3161 and Makeshift, 4839, and they did their own system. They didn't build the Everybot last year. And so they didn't do the quick build. The quick build is going to be focused on the kitbot /
Can we register for the January 14th build up until like the week before, or does that have to be registered beforehand?
No, we don't even know the details. And that's why I'm even hesitant to say anything more than that. We're going to, right off the bat on the first Monday after kickoff, we'll be sending around registration lists. So I don't think we're going to do registration now. You could just tell me informally that you're interested, but we're going to do the formal registration right in January because there's so many unknowns. It's hard to do much more planning.
We're always up for anything, so you can always include us.
Oh, amazing. Okay, well, we'll look forward to that. And so I was just coming back to the build season, and there are a few things that we just didn't know as a rookie team. And we just couldn't get in place. I was the only mentor. That was the one thing that really could have improved. That the more mentors you have, and that could be parents, teachers, community members, the easier it is for your team to operate. Despite that, my students really benefited from the support of other teams to even get my team started. Team 771 and Team 4001 helped our team get going through a network of friends. And we brought this robot to the competition, but we ran out of time on the stop build day. So we actually had to finally attach the bumpers while we were there. And many people helped us to do those things. And it was a really great experience. Everyone was so supportive. And the thing that happens, like we got the robot working, but there are certain things you just don't know that are not working unless you actually try it on the field. So the earlier you get your chassis moving, the better. And that's why sticking with a kit bot and getting it perfect is better than trying the most amazing new design and being star engineers who don't finish. That can be a strong recommendation. So if you get your chassis moving as early as possible, then you have more time to discover what's not working before the robot's on the field. Because it may even appear to be working, but when you jostle around with the high intensity of the gameplay, the wire that was connected is suddenly loose, and then things happen not as you would expect. And so that was a really great experience. The students loved it nonetheless in my first year, and we had 30 students join the STEM program the very next year at the recommendation of these students. So things to consider, the motion of your drive base, that gets you on the playing field. Then remember the bumpers, don't leave them to the last. Make sure your bumpers are made as early as possible. Then you have a working robot no matter what happens. And then you can start adding the basic features. And if you saw the other Everybot, just go back a few slides here, there are several modules. Like you could start next with this module and get it working. And then you can add this module and it's working. And so step by step, you improve your robot. But if you have a working drive base and some bumpers, then you have a competition ready robot, and then build on that. And the teams that are really strong, I've learned that they are practicing driving 1 to 2 months before the first competition, and you notice when they get there. And we have in Ontario a number of teams that are throughout the province. 772 is located in Windsor, 1114 in the St. Catharines area, and 1241 in Mississauga, and 1305 in North Bay. They're known as hub teams, and they are open for you to support or to offer you support. And if you'd like to get in touch with them, you can just email or text me, and I'll make sure you get in touch with their mentors. So there are sources of inspiration when it comes to design or fabricating parts, or just to answer questions on a sort of a drop-in basis online and or with the team's email. And so we've tried to build in as many supports as possible through your build season. So that's our build season, and a few things to consider. Plan carefully. And sometimes it's hard to plan when you don't really realize the scope of what you're in. And that's what happened to me. I casually thought, oh, this is just like another club. I didn't realize until like probably about partway through the FRC season that, whoa, this thing is really big. And it's taking a lot longer than I thought it might have. And then once we got the robot working and we started putting the motors, I didn't realize that you even had to do the gearboxes. I didn't realize the motors didn't come with the proper gearboxes. And so we'd already started constructing the robot when we realized that all of the engineering that needs to go into it. So planning carefully is really great. Reaching out for the support and recommendations of other teams really keeps you in the loop and makes it so that you can fully benefit from the program. And there's an interesting thing about the mindset. This is not a competition. This is a cooperation. And you can see here, there's a team member of 4946, the Alpha Dogs. Them and 3 or 4 other teams really helped us. They're actually working their very best to support our team, even though they may be competing against us in the next match. That's the beauty of this program. And that's where it's really great to stay in touch with as many teams as you can. And that's really great that Suzanne, for example, has planned to do the kickoff with 9098 and 4039. And if you can find those connections, it will really help your team to come along. So now we come to the events, and we'll probably have this in future mentor sessions, but it's really good to develop a checklist of tools and items to bring. Some of them may be standard, but others may be particular to your robot. So you'll have to sort of develop this as you go. And you can find lots of checklists online or that are generic that any team would want to bring to the competition. But then you'll also accumulate for your robot alone some special tools or equipment that you may need just for your robot. You want to plan your transportation. Some teams carpool with parents, others organize buses. It all depends on whether they're in schools or community groups. And if necessary, you may book hotels or just plan your transportation around getting back home each day. And another thing that happened last year, as I was talking about planning the scope, I really loved the story of Team 9098. They were a rookie team last year, and they did go with 4039 and 3161, other teams in their area. And they chose a single function robot. It took a game piece and put it in the low goal. And it was not ambitious trying to solve all the problems all at once. But what it did extremely reliably. So reliably that they were the 6th highest ranked team in the entire province in their rookie year. And that was an incredible achievement. So that speaks to choosing the scope of the robot build wisely. A very reliable low goal robot is much higher scoring than a flashy robot that does a lot of things most of the time or even part of the time. Suzanne.
I want to mirror that. The boys learned at the Stemley Cup within like 40 minutes how to drive makeshift's robot. But they learned how to balance that robot on the scale, and they were picked as part of the winning alliance, and they won the Stemley Cup. So they just picked a basic skill to be really good at, and look where it got them. I was so proud of them.
Yeah, and yeah, you could see that throughout the weekend. There was a real amazing transformation of the team's capabilities, even in a short time. So being very careful about your scope is part of your planning and part of keeping everything organized. and doing well. So your plans for championships, that's why I went one slide back, because 1998 did so well. Not only did they make it to the Ontario Championships, they were actually offered a spot at the World Championship. And there were many tears because they had never imagined that they would do so well that they would have to make the difficult choice to bail on their invitation, simply because they had not contemplated or planned for such a very short notice, amazing experience. So you may want to just think about that beforehand. You never know how far your team will progress during the year. And it is very possible, with careful planning, organization, and many hands making light work, that your team may do the same. So just know in advance what you plan to do and then have that discussed with your team. And we know that going to the World Championship is a very expensive endeavor. And for that reason, we put a lot of time, energy, and love into the provincial championship and make it the best experience possible. So that even if you don't go to the World Championship, you've done your very best and you've competed with some extremely fine robotics teams from around the province. And that's our sort of approach here in Ontario. So those are some of the overall considerations for your time in the event season. I'm sure you may have some questions or other ideas. I'm going to stop sharing and we can just discuss any other things you may like to discuss. I really like 9580's approach. They really do embody the many hands make light work approach. That's going to go well.
They may be snowed in Barrie, who knows? I hear there's snow up there now.
That hopefully work out.
Had a quick question. You mentioned the events take days. How many days usually is this?
So each event has more or less the same schedule, and I'll take a typical Friday to Sunday schedule. On Friday afternoon or evening, your team will load in the robot and get some time to set up in their robotics pit. They get a 10 by 10 pit area to store their robot and their tools. And then on Saturday morning, perhaps 7:30 or 8, the teams will begin. And then it goes most of the day, depending on the number of teams, till about 5 or 7 o'clock on the Saturday. And then similar schedule on Sunday, except that on Sunday afternoon, we transition into the finals and we wrap up more or less by 6 p.m. on the Sunday. And I'm choosing Friday to Sunday because that's the most common set of days. Some events do go Thursday to Saturday, and other events this year, for the first time that any of us remembers, we're going Monday till Wednesday on one of our events.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Oh, just a reminder, because I don't think you said it, William, but because I always see this with some rookie teams when they first start. The place where your pit is, you have to transport the robot to the field, and it's not advisable for you to have students carrying it all that way. So what you need to have is some kind of a robot transportation, like a cart or something. Some teams make them, some teams just take, I've seen old AV carts that used to have those massive televisions on in schools being used and so forth, but there's stuff there. Well, you can show you. So it's and part of that is safety, because there'll be cables and cable mats that they'll have to traverse over, and walking with a robot backwards carrying it, not really a very safe way to do it. So that is also something that you want to consider. I would also consider finding some pool noodles now for your bumpers.
Oops. I was trying to show the there's some kind of robot trolley there, and they have a very nicely organized pit. If you don't have all of those shelves, that's okay. You can gradually build up to something like that. But having places to store your things, bringing these totes really helps. And having an extra surface on which to work, maybe a few extra chairs, could help in your pit area. And you get 10 feet by 10 feet and it will be marked off. If we see these pictures here, some teams like to build a superstructure around their pit so that they can show off their team's imagery. And There you see they've got shelves and things all around, and they're able to work with their robot in the pit. That appears to be their trolley as well. So the teams have different approaches to having trolleys in their pit areas. They put caution signs if no one's there. It's always good to have safety at the forefront of what's happening. There's an example of a trolley with a toolkit on it. It's a really great approach. And the internet is just full of examples of what you can do with your pits and your robot imagery and all of this. There's a nice team to learn from, the #1 winning team of all time from California, the Cheesy Poofs. Lots to learn out there, amazing stories, and hopefully that will help you get prepared. Fairly soon we'll have to make a transition. I'm going to be going on to another call, which is our general mentor call for this evening, and everyone's welcome to attend. If you can't attend, don't feel pressured to have to watch in person. We are recording them as well. And
just Suzanne's got a last question there, William, in the chat, but when we stop.
Okay. Whoops, I'm not seeing it.
So Suzanne, we used to have to stop after 6.5 weeks. That rule has been changed. So you can build right up until the day you go to the event. You can build between events.
So when do they test it? Like Peter was telling me that they have to like inspect it. When does that happen?
When it's brought in. So on that day that William's talking about, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, often you can get it inspected there. Some teams aren't quite ready to get inspected there, so they'll try to get inspected the Saturday morning. But you have to pass inspection, electrical, mechanical, and following the rules before you can actually compete on the floor.
And that comes to a very important point. If you follow the EveryBot and/or KitBot approach, chances are you'll be fairly close to meeting inspection. But if you do start modifying your robot, and even if you don't, it's a very good idea to have a good number of your team members familiar with the robot building rules. For example, we use 12-gauge wire as required by the rules, but even that wasn't enough because it was not the proper type of 12-gauge wire. So you have to be very, very detailed. We had to actually take out the wire from one part of our robot and put a new flexible wire in. It was non-flexible 12-gauge wire we picked up. So I think it's really important to be able to put this on your team members and divide up the chapters of the rule book and say, okay, these 3 students are responsible for this part of the robot building rules, and these students are responsible for the game rules, and so on and so on. And then your team as a team will understand everything and be able to be prepared for that inspection. It's great to be able to show up and get your robot inspected and everything is in order and you're ready to go.
And there'll be an inspection checklist that comes out mid-build season so that you can see what they're going to be looking at when you're getting inspected.
Yeah.
Just to make it a little bit easier for everybody. The robot inspector's job is to make sure your robot is safe, but their biggest job is to help you get on the field. They're not there to deny you a place to play or a time to play. They want to get you on the field, and they'll do everything in their power to do that.
That's why all the inspectors in Ontario seem to know me by name. I don't know what happened. I don't remember them, but they remember me. So it's really great to meet everyone, and I really hope everyone has a wonderful evening. If you're joining us, we'll be starting in just under 5 minutes on the other call, and hope you all have a great kickoff and build season, and we'll look forward to seeing many of you at the quick builds and the other events leading up to our FRC competitions in March and April. And cheers to 9580, who are going to be representing Georgian College. It's a really exciting opportunity where the college can support a number of teams in a community through their team there. I'm really excited about that initiative, and well, all the best to everyone until very soon.
Keep sending us those questions, please.
Great.